Hi friends! Spring has sprung. I am so excited for the new season. It's one of my favorites. Everything's light and airy. Everybody's nice for no reason. The weather's amazing. Flowers are blooming, and I cannot wait to also jump into some new books. So I have a stack here that I'm going to be sharing today of the books that I hope to read this spring. Hopefully you'll find some inspiration and want to pick up a couple of these as well. For the most part, they're kind of light and airy. I have a couple of darker, deeper ones peppered in just to keep things interesting, but for the most part, they're romances and they're light and a little fluffy, just what I need for spring. So thanks for watching and let's jump in. The first couple of books I have here are the non-romance books. Let's get those out of the way before we get to our romances. And the first one I have in my hand is actually a thriller. So I've read two this year, one good one and one bad one. And I think I need a tiebreaker to see how I really feel about reading more thrillers this year. So I picked up Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is the new one by this author and everyone's been raving about it. It's about a married couple named Adam and Amelia. And apparently Adam has been face blind his whole life and doesn't recognize anybody, including his own wife. And Amelia, on the other hand, has been writing him letters all these years, and she won't let him read them until now. Apparently, they win a trip to Scotland, and they think this is just what their marriage needs to get back on track. It's been kind of rocky over the last several years, so they go on this trip, and apparently everything pops off, and tons of secrets are revealed, and it just kind of takes off from there. So I'm really excited to read this one. Like I said, thrillers kind of give me the chills, but like good chills, I'm realizing. It's almost like a train wreck. I can't seem to look away. So this is going to be the tiebreaker for the year. If this one's good, then I might pick up some more, and if it's not, then I might leave it for a while. So we'll see how this one goes. The next book I picked up is kind of a little social experiment for myself. So you know how I said thrillers kind of give me the creeps, but I do enjoy the mystery aspect of them. So I was like, okay, maybe I need something a little bit lighter. So I picked up a cozy mystery, and it's called Key Lime Pie Murder by Joanne Fluke. And I'm wondering if this is the happy balance that I need to get a little bit of mystery, but also not scare me to my very bones. So we're gonna give this one a try. It's about a cookie shop owner, and she's asked to be a judge, like in the county fair, to judge, I think, a pie eating contest, and it turns out that one of her fellow judges ends up being murdered. So she kind of helps to figure out what the mystery is and who killed her, whether it was like a student of hers or an ex-lover or somebody else entirely. So I'm reading this purely as a social experiment to see if cozy mysteries are more my genre than thriller, or if I indeed like the creepy aspect of thrillers more than I think I do, and I need it to be intense. So we'll see how this one goes, but I'm really excited to read it. It seems just like the right setting for spring. It's a fair, it's got pies, it's outdoors. Sounds like the perfect thing I need to read this spring. The next book I picked up is actually a fantasy, because apparently I'm a fantasy girly now, and that story is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by S.A. Chakrabarty. I just finished the David Bud series by this author, so I'm kind of on a high from her works. I love everything about the way she writes characters and worlds and storylines. It's incredible, so I cannot wait to jump into this one. This one is about our main character named Amina, who used to be one of the Indian Ocean's most notorious pirates. She's seen and done everything and had tons of adventures, but now she's living a very domestic life, very content as a mother. But one day a wealthy woman comes in search of her help, because apparently her son's daughter has been kidnapped and she wants Amina to help her find her. And so she goes on, she agrees because it's a lot of money and it could really set up her family for the rest of her life. So she agrees to go on one final adventure to help find this kidnapped girl. But as she embarks on this journey, she uncovers so many more truths and secrets. As with all of S.A. Chakrabarty's stories, you start with one thing, but then it turns into a whole nother thing and a huge world erupts from there. I think this is going to be the same because it's the first of a new series. It doesn't end with this book, so I can only imagine what she uncovers when she goes in search of this missing girl. It sounds epic, it sounds amazing, it's everything I think I want from a high C epic fantasy. I mean, imagine like a Jack Sparrow but a female version. Absolutely, sign me up. I cannot wait. Alrighty, now for our romance books. The first one I have here is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. This is the second in the series. The first one was Mr. Wrong Number. This one is about Hallie and Jack, and Hallie and Jack go on a date that ends disastrously, and they agree that they are not made for each other, but they can be each other's wing person. So they make a friendly little wager to see who can fall in love first, and they agree that if they're ever on a date that goes badly, the other one will help them escape. So they get into this little routine until one weekend when they agree to be fake dates to a wedding, and I think things ensue from there and they realize they have feelings for each other. I love everything about the sound of this. Lynn Painter does really great banter and really great fluffy kind of writing. It's a closed door romance, I believe, like her other ones, and it just sounds like the perfect little rom-com for spring. The next book I have here is called If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. This is not a new release. It's been on my TBR for a little while, but I was waiting for the right moment to read it, and I think now is the time. So this is about Cindy, who has just graduated with a degree in shoe design, which, by the way, can we just take a moment for that? I didn't even know that was a thing. I wish somebody would have told me when I was going to school, because I definitely would have looked into that. But anyways, Cindy has just graduated. She's looking to get her career off the ground, but she's currently working for her stepmother, who is the executive producer of a show called Before Midnight. And one day they need a last-minute stand-in to fill in for a contestant, and Cindy agrees because she thinks it'll be really great exposure for her career and help her career kind of get off the ground. So she agrees to be on the show, and she's an instant sensation because she is the only plus-size contestant on the show. So she instantly becomes like a body positivity icon, and people are really loving her on the show. So I think she also really falls for Prince Charming and sees herself being with him, and I think it gives her some great exposure for her career as well. I mean, it just sounds incredible. I, for some reason, cannot watch like love shows on TV, like The Bachelor and stuff, but reading about it is really interesting. I have no idea what that phenomenon is, but I love it. And this book sounds like it's a ton of fun and a ton of like kind of quirky TV personalities as well. And I love the fact that they are talking about body positivity as well. So a really great message. So I'm excited to read it. I'm heading to the beach in a couple of weeks. I think this will be a really great beach read. The next 4 books on my list are part of a series, and they are the latter half of the series, and that is the last 4 Bridgerton novels. These are Francesca, Hyacinth, and Gregory stories, and then the last one I believe is an epilogue novel. It's the Happily Ever After, and it has a little bit of everybody after their books. So I am excited to read these because it's been a while since I've been in the Bridgerton world. Last year I read the first 5 of the older children, so Daphne, Anthony, and Benedict's stories, the first 3 were incredible. I love them. The 4th one, Colin's story, was kind of mediocre, and I was like, this is not what I would have expected for the 4th novel. And then the 5th one, Eloise's story, was terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. It actually made my least favorite books of last year. I'll link that up here if you want to see my thoughts, but it was horrendous. And so I needed a break from the Bridgerton world after reading Eloise's story, and I think I'm finally ready to jump back in with these 4 novels. I'm excited to see what happens with the younger kids. I hope this series is redeemed in my eyes because Eloise's story really took me for quite a trip. I hope these kids have a better story, and I hope the Happily Ever After gives me everything I need to tie up the series. And I'm really hoping to finish these before the next show season comes out. I know it's not for a while, but I kind of want to be done with the series before I jump into the show, because the show actually is going in a completely different direction than the books are. I think I like the books a little bit better. The show has just like kind of gone left and doing its own thing. So I want to finish these before the show comes out nonetheless, and just kind of wrap up this whole world. So we'll see how it goes. And the last book I have here on the list today is called After I Do. This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is actually part of a book haul I did back in February, but I've been going back and reading all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlist items after falling in love with Daisy Jones and the Six and the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like the rest of the world, I wanted to read what else she had in her backlist. So I've been doing 1 book a month, I'd say, and the last one I read was called Maybe in Another Life, and I didn't love it, so I'm really hoping that this one is a little bit better than that. But this one is about Lauren and Ryan, and they have been together for a number of years, and they are starting to feel like they're falling out of love. So they come up with a plan to take a year off from each other and take a break from their relationship, and in that year off they can't contact one another, but anything else goes. So they're kind of doing an experiment to see if that year off proves to them that they want to be in each other's lives, or that actually they need to evolve in different directions. So this book I think really explores topics like marriage and commitment and monogamy and loyalty and all sorts of like relationship topics. So I'm interested to see where she takes it. Taylor Jenkins Reid usually does really well with some of these like deep and meaningful life topics, especially when it comes to relationships and like romantic relationships. So I'm interested to see how she battles these topics in this book. I really hope this is another great read. Her books usually fly by, so I think I'll be able to manage to read it in like 1 or 2 sittings, and we'll see what happens, but I'm really excited about this one as well. So there we have it. Those are all the books that I'm going to be attempting to read this spring. I hope you got some inspiration to pick up a couple of spring books, maybe from this list or maybe from your own list. Comment down below what you're reading this spring. I'm headed to the beach soon, like I said, and I can't wait to take a number of these and hopefully fly through them on my week off. But thanks for watching today, and I'll catch you next time.